What is up, everybody? We are back and we are live this week for another TMG After Dark. My name is Aaron Knoll, stepping in once again for Maddie Graham, who hopefully will be joining us in just a little bit. But unfortunately, Dad duty calls, and I don't have kids, so I can be here. We have a fun show, hopefully tonight. Just hanging around, as the title says, shooting the shit, talking. More of what you guys love. First, we'll go ahead and go on to our first member of the panel tonight. He is a star of a very popular show, and he is currently holding the penis of a very popular character. He is Nikki, our Mandalorian.
This is the way.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I got a lightsaber here. It's hot. I don't know how they hold it. It's very bright. It's lucky that I have the pink visor on, so I can actually see, and it's not a little too close for comfort there. Guys, I think this thing might explode by the end of the night. I'm concerned about it. I really am. I need help. Somebody help me, please.
All right. So rather than helping him, we're going to go ahead and move on to our second member of the panel. He is our Dr. Spaceman, Mr. Alan Shepard.
Aloha. I don't have anything explosive except for my wit and my tenacity. Ooh.
Alan.
All right, and tonight, our fourth member of the panel for the moment, we are joined by someone making their first appearance on After Dark, but we're just excited to have him, Mr. Jordan Anderson. How are you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing awesome. I am coming to you from just outside of Seattle, Washington. Formerly. So this is my brand new studio. This is actually my second thing I've ever filmed in this studio. I just moved to Spokane, Washington, about 4 hours away. We have about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, so that's a little different.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Alan's got a fucking sunrise outside his window right now. It's 4 in the afternoon, but there's probably still a sunrise in Hawaii.
They're still always sunny every day, even in the rain.
And I mean, right now it's like 50 degrees here in Florida, so it's like everyone's got sweaters on, probably. Like that's how people are.
It was a brisky 66 this morning, and it was kind of nippy. I go a lot. It was kind of cold.
I have to ask, just because I don't know if I've ever spoken to someone like personally who is from Seattle. Is the rain really that bad?
Yeah, like you kind of have like a rainy and a not rainy season, I guess you could say. So like, it'll rain nonstop for maybe like about 6 months, but then usually from about like June, August, and September we'll get like no rain at all, and then it picks up again, and it's kind of raining off and on. So yeah, the rain gets bad though.
So it's like down here where Florida has two seasons, summer and not summer. Summer is most of the year. Not summer is like December to January.
But the good thing though is it's usually just more of like a mist of rain, so it's not really like pouring ever. It's just like barely misting, so it's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's not
Just
like
enough to get your feet wet.
Not like the Twilight movies where whenever they're indoors, there's just piles of rain behind them for some reason.
Right.
But then they step outside and it's perfectly fine, so his skin can glisten. You know,
Yep.
Listen,
Definitely not
right
like that.
glisten. That is a word.
Listen.
It's a good word.
Oh,
Sparkle.
So what do we got today? How's your week been, Alan?
Sparkly. My week's been it's had some ups and downs. I did some good team building stuff with people from the Navy, so that was good, exciting. I just a bunch of craziness and good stuff, and everybody's all right here. We're fine here. We're all fine here. How are you?
Like horrible. Like not even kidding. I got a bunch of computer parts for my for.
Oh, that's right. You were fighting with your computer.
Yeah. Oh my God, this thing is terrible. Like, I got a motherboard online. They said that the motherboard was compatible with all Ryzen 5 processors. Guess what? It wasn't. So I had to get another processor to put in it. It's a nightmare. Like you have C3PO running back and forth, and I don't have any. It's garbage. How's your week? You have a horrible week like the rest of us?
this is gonna be 2 hours of just fucking misery. Like, somebody get the blocks out. We'll start smashing legs. Like,
Let's do it.
Do it.
Yep.
I got a lightsaber.
So Nikki, I have to ask, because you're building a computer, and I'm sure you were inspired by Henry Cavill. Are we also getting a shirtless picture of you just
Yes.
working on this computer? Like,
look, if there's a demand for it, yes. I don't want to scare anybody, but absolutely, I would like to mimic that entire video. That's one of the benefits of it getting screwed up, because now I can do this. Because I took it completely apart again. But the thing is with Cavill, like, you could see outside of the window, like, day turning into night, turning into day again, turning into night. He was struggling. I didn't even take that long with this just to figure it out. I had a couple of hiccups at first, and then it's like, okay, display ports aren't working. And I look online, what's the problem? Oh, your processor's not compatible unless you update the BIOS, and you can't update the BIOS unless the display ports are working. So
I mean, right? Come on now. That's 101.
Next week I'll take my shirt off and try again.
There you go. You should get under the desk.
There's not much here,
with a little car thing, like you under the computer like this.
Like this.
Yeah, there you go. Under the computer like this.
Yeah.
And so we just see your lower half, knees up on the stroller, or what do you call the roller thing?
Look at that.
That'll work.
I don't even wear sleeves on this show.
Yeah, it's a little awkward how many times I've watched that Cavill video. More times than I probably should, but yeah.
Interesting.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know if I've actually ever seen the video, but my favorite thing about the video was I forget the guy's name offhand, but the guy who works for Collider that wrote the article about it, and his headline was something like Cavill releases video of him building computer. Thousands of women spontaneously conceive.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
I can the processor with his hands. Like the way he shoves that processor in there, it's like, dude, the pins. What are you doing?
He gonna break something.
Size hands just
easy.
Listen, Cavill's just used to shoving it in, man. That's just how Cavill.
That's how he rolls, man.
He needs to learn.
I mean, he shoved in everything. That mustache in Justice League, he shoved that in there.
Yep.
That wasn't his fault. Tom Cruise held him to a contract.
That's true.
Yep.
And that was Tom Cruise screaming because of the movie that he had the mustache for.
That's right.
Yep.
That's the noise you should make when you break your ankle. Instead, he just kept filming. God, that is one of the most painful videos I've ever seen. Like, when you really watch it, and because like it was recorded from different angles, when you watch it, you really see how that thing bends.
Snaps.
Like, oh god,
yeah. But you didn't seem that phased by it. What do you think bothered him more, that or when he screamed at the people about the masks?
Oh, the masks.
Real life, less
masks, probably.
I'll be honest with you.
One's an insurance issue for himself. One's an insurance issue for a whole set. So it's
for a whole set. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't as impressed with the mask screaming thing because people were hyping it up. It was the next Christian Bale lighting thing, but nobody beats Bale.
Oh,
right? He's the king.
Nobody.
No, that's
exactly
because that is legitimately that Bale video is the legitimate pinnacle of anger. Like, you can just tell from the way that movie turned out and like his performance. Like, this is a Bale who would rather be making anything else.
Anything.
He was thinking about Batman. He was thinking about his Oscar the next year. He was thinking about just being anywhere but there. And that poor light
he was
guy
thinking about drinking.
got the brunt of it.
Yep.
He got the juice. And I loved how he just kept egging it on. He just kept egging it on. He's waiting for a response, and as soon as he responds, oh no,
he wanted him to fight back.
Yeah, he wanted him to fight back, but I love it. I love that.
I'm like
so
that
much.
when I'm pissed off.
So I was kind of hoping that would be the Cruise thing, but it didn't happen.
On the other hand, that fight, I guess you can call it, that Christian Bale rant is the best thing that's ever been made while McGee is in the director's chair.
That's true. You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
It was McGee.
How did that get made,
bro?
How did it get made? Happen? Somebody had money to, and actually, I don't hate that movie, but somebody had money to blow.
Oh, I don't like that movie, and I like some bad Terminator movies.
Is it the worst?
I love Terminator 3. I love it.
Not in my opinion. No, Genesis.
No. Ooh, what is the worst Terminator, guys?
Genesis is worse, easily.
Genesis is pretty crap. I actually don't
Yeah,
mind
Genesis is bad.
But it's worse than Salvation.
I'm gonna say,
Yes.
I'm gonna say Salvation is the worst. Dark Fate's the next worst.
Yeah.
So here's my reasoning behind it. Everything since Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Genesis, and Terminator Dark Fate are all the same movie as Terminator 2 to varying degrees. They're all the same type of film.
Cut and paste pieces.
Yep.
Salvation is, in my opinion, below mediocre. It's probably like a 4 out of 10, but it gets points from me because at least it's something different. At least when I'm watching it, I am seeing, at least it's not a bad Terminator 2 knockoff. Like, Dark Fate's a better film. I'd probably rewatch Salvation before I ever rewatch Dark Fate because I can just rewatch T2. It's a better version of the same film. And then again, that's not to say Dark Fate's bad. I gave it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's a solid film in and of itself, but it's just T2, and T2's a 10 out of 10.
I think it's so much different than T2 just because
it's elemental.
Like that first scene, if you haven't seen the movie, that opening scene, it got me. Because the thing is, Sarah Connor, what is the thing?
It's been over a year.
She never cared about saving the future. She cared about saving her son.
They kill Eddie Furlong. It's been over a year since it came out.
Yeah.
We're good.
But that's why I'm hooked at the beginning of that movie, because it's like, okay, what does Sarah Connor look like after she loses everything? Because she really did not care about saving the future. Like, that was not her mission. Her mission was, these people are trying to kill my son. I need to make sure he can take care of himself. And then he's flirting with some chica at a wherever they were in Mexico. No, that's hola chica, ¿cómo estás? It's like some Edward Furlong impersonator. But no, that's tragic. It got me.
I love just Edward Furlong with his natural acting ability nowadays.
No, he can't. He doesn't still look like that. They
definitely did digitally.
Oh, they did. They did a pretty good job.
There.
Actually, they did a really good job with the de-aging in that one.
No,
I mean, they both look really good.
It's only a couple frames, so it's easier to do that way.
True, but like I feel like if we're talking about de-aging, I feel like you do have to, even if it's for a few frames, you have to give credit to when it looks good. Like, Star Wars has had its missteps with it, but I'll give all credit in the world to Marvel. Like, the fact that the opening scene of Ant-Man is a solid 3 or 4 minutes with 3 de-aged characters, like, it's well done.
Yeah, say what you will about Sam Jackson's body in Captain Marvel. His face is great.
That's very
His face looks great.
Yeah, no, it is very well done. And actually, because before we went live, we were talking about The Irishman. That's an example of a film that does older de-aging correctly. Yeah. Right? Where Sam Jackson moves, and that's 60-odd Sam Jackson, but they make it look like he is moving like he's a younger man. It's it's not, wow, that's a 60-year-old, a 30-year-old.
There are FBI agents that can't really scrap too. Like that's not that out of the realm of possibility, because he's supposed to be 45 in that movie, so it's not too hard to believe that a 45-year-old man can't fight Ben Mendelsohn, Super Skrull or something.
Yeah, even Coulson's looked fine too. Not as good as Sam Jackson's. You can put less money into it, but
they have less work with Coulson. Coulson looks weird because of the hair. They could have just added hair and had that been enough.
True.
Yeah, I mean, actually, so I was gonna say, because based off one of the comments that just popped up there. I don't normally, for the last few weeks, we've been using the videos as kind of like a streamliner for news. Unfortunately, I just wasn't able to make them this week, although I do have some stories we can talk about. But that is something that came out earlier today that we can talk about. WandaVision reviews.
I want to see it.
The reviews, so the first 3 episodes got sent out to critics for screeners, and embargo's up so they can talk about it. No details have leaked as of now, but the reviews are coming in very, very positive for this show. The central consensus from everything I've read, the consensus seems to be it's very different from what we've seen in terms of its tone, and it's obviously a parody of older sitcoms while also kind of focusing on what's most likely a mental breakdown of a character.
She's in hell.
It's different. It's a different, interesting show, but people are saying stick with it. because at least by the end of the third episode, you're already starting to see how it ties into the larger MCU and what ramifications it could have. And considering it's launching with 2 episodes, it's only going to take 2 weeks to reach the point of. Yeah, so it's 9 episodes. That was confirmed, and they're launching with 2 on its opening week. What happened?
Like it's a series, the Marvel Legends on Disney Plus. It's basically a previously on. They took the logo from the action figures, and it's basically previously on the Avengers, and then it shows you what happens with Wanda, and then it shows you what happens with Vision. It's good for people like my mom that maybe don't remember all the movies but want to watch WandaVision. So that was just something that I saw. I wasn't sure what it was because it said new series, but it's really just a 6-minute YouTube video that you could find some fans on.
That's why, like, that came announced at the last minute, and I was like, "What's this?" And then I heard what it was, and I was like, "Oh, that's why they didn't market it." Yeah, okay. It's like, if you come across
recap for people who haven't seen everything.
You know,
Bruce thinks it's the multiverse. Because we're getting the multiverse of madness.
That is the long-standing rumor. So,
but I think she's in hell. Like, I think this is straight up hell to start off with.
You think?
Yeah. No, I think she's in hell.
Well,
I think it's probably. I think maybe it's probably an introduction to the idea that when the House of M can actually happen in the movies.
House of M, that's what I was going to say. It's all House of M.
The rumor that's circulating right now is if everything that has been rumored about these 3 films is correct, then the following rumor is the following rumor is that apparently the MCU in Phase 4 is setting up some sort of multiverse trilogy that begins with WandaVision, continues with Spider-Man, and finishes with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
But you brought up House of M. With the whole entire House of M thing, I have a question for you, Jordan, because you seem to know a little bit about this.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think House of M has already happened?
No, I don't think so, because like part of the reason why Wanda, she goes so crazy, like you see the little cut scenes from the trailer where she's holding 2 little babies there, and like that's part of why she goes crazy, because she thinks that those are actually hers, those are actually real, and that's part of the reason why she goes crazy. I don't know how they're going to play it into the movies, but in the comic books, that's how it all goes down because of that. She goes crazy, but in this, I don't know if they're going to tie it into that or if they're going to have some of their reason. But I think that like me personally, I think that it's all just WandaVision, just creating a whole new reality for everyone. And there's something underlying, and they're trying to get everyone to wake up and realize, like hey, like you're in some kind of fantasy land being created by.
And Jimmy Woo says, "Who's doing
the Scarlet
this?"
Witch? Yeah, right.
Right.
So you wake up and you
theory,
like realize what's going on.
The reason I said Hell and Mephisto is because the difference that this has is that this is technically a series, like an online streaming series. And when it comes to Hell, the Devil, Mephisto, you can't do that and then release it in certain markets, because certain markets straight up forbid movies that are about demons and hell and the devil. To be released, like in China, I don't think they're allowed to have movies about the devil. But since this is a streaming service, they can use a character like Mephisto. They can use like a setting like hell. So that's why I think like this is Mephisto that's doing it to her. We've had rumors of Evan Peters, and people are Evan Peters. Well, he was Quicksilver, but first thing I ever saw Evan Peters do was shoot up a school on American Horror Story. He does that in American Horror Story, so he can play a villainous role. He has played a demon, a hell spawn before. So I think that is where they're going with this, that she is in hell or she's being influenced by hell on earth. It could be the plot of Little Nicky. You don't know. Like they're trying to bring hell.
There you go.
Let's hope it's a little better than that.
Plot of Little Nicky.
Yeah. I hope not.
Well, so because I was going to say there's what interests me more, honestly, and it as much as I like Scarlet Witch and Vision and their portrayal so far in the MCU, what's interested me more about this show is its supporting cast. Because to me, bringing in Tiana Paris as a grown-up Monica Rambeau, and then bringing back in Kat Dennings and Randall Park as Jimmy Woo,
Right.
Like that's such a weird, and then obviously Catherine Hahn being the one complete newbie. That's such a weird main cast to have.
That is
Like
a
especially
weird
because these
mix.
are all, and apparently, from what I've read, part of the inspiration for bringing in Jimmy Woo, who apparently when Randall Park signed on to Marvel, he signed on with them having had discussions of, we almost want to make you like another Phil Coulson, where plop you here,
Yeah.
plop you here, plop you here. But apparently part of the reason those two specifically were kind of approached about this show is because of their history with sitcom, right? The show is parodying sitcoms.
Oh yeah,
Both
and
Kat
Kat
Dennings
Dennings is on
and
Moms,
Randall
right?
Park have been on
Or no,
long
Two Broke
running
Girls.
Yeah,
Two Broke Girls and Fresh
Yeah.
Off the Boat. They were both on long-running sitcoms.
Yeah.
So they have that experience in it. And then obviously, I don't know if Catherine Hahn was ever on a sitcom, but I know she's been in a lot of comedy. So it makes sense as to why, these actors are being brought in. But that's what's interested me more than, and honestly, which sounds weird. And it's probably only because I'm not huge on, I don't know a lot of comics history in terms of like House of M. So like that type of stuff is all like, look, I'll see what's presented to me and I'll base my opinion off how they present it. But for me, the interesting thing about the show has always been that is the wackiest supporting cast I have ever seen brought together. I want to see how you use them. I really do.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what's interesting to me?
Attractive to bring back.
Oh yeah, she's very attractive. We haven't mentioned this at all, but we got to talk about Daddy. That's Magneto's daughter, people.
Yep, exactly.
That is Magneto's daughter. They have the rights to mutants. They have established that she was a mutant, like in a recent book. But like, and I know I hate that sort of thing too. Like the Wakanda Files, I think it's called. It's like a book by Shuri, but she was a mutant that was transformed by the Mind Stone. So that the mutant X gene already existed inside of her, and her and Petro tell that story about how her parents die. I don't think he died. That was Magneto, and that shell didn't go off. The reason that shell didn't go off was because Magneto is there holding it together. So I think we're gonna see something in this series.
You think retroactively they'll write Magneto and the X-Men in through her?
Yep, absolutely. I think that's what they're doing. Even if it's just like I heard it was, Eric from New Rockstars mentioned that they could just have a birth certificate for Wanda and Petro, where it's just mother Maximoff and then father just have it X.
Nice.
Just have it crossed out with an X.
That'd be a good reveal.
All you would need to do to set it up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. See, and also the whole thing with Kevin Peters too. I think that like, so in the comic books, Quicksilver is a huge part of the story. Like he's one of the main
multiverse.
So like it makes me kind of wonder: is he gonna like be playing Quicksilver? Is he gonna, because we don't really have Aaron Taylor Johnson mentioned. We don't. I mean, are they gonna have a new Quicksilver? Are they even gonna do Quicksilver? I don't know.
Honestly, and again, this is the I've been established on the show as kind of the realist looking at these situations. I very much think if Evan Peters is in this show somewhere, I very much think it's kind of a faux hype stunt casting. Just like, again, I could be proved wrong, but I truly do not believe that Michael Keaton is playing Vulture and Morbius. I think it's just very good stunt casting, and they knew how to market it in a trailer. Because there's a reason.
It's Michael Keaton playing a random prisoner?
I think it's Michael Keaton playing someone else. I don't think it's Vulture. I like it could be a character that plays in.
I think it's Adrian Toomes.
But again, as someone who looks at it from a realistic point of view, I don't think Kevin Feige is going to want films in the MCU that aren't under his control, and there's no indication.
Like that's a lawyer thing right there, where as long as they don't mention Tony Stark, they can use Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes. It's interesting. We were supposed to see that movie by now. That's another thing that sucks.
I don't know if that's 100% how that works.
Yeah. What do you think, Alan?
If he is Adrian Toomes, then it's not a connection to the MCU. I think that's even dumber casting.
It's a Spider-Verse connection.
Yeah.
That's what it is, I think. Like certain, because this is the thing with Jamie Foxx in Spider-Man 3, and a lot of these other actors confirmed. I think with Jamie Foxx as Electro,
but no one's confirmed.
Yeah.
no one's confirmed. That's the thing people are forgetting is, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go too deep. Yeah, like Fox.
Yeah.
Well, even Fox isn't confirmed. In interviews, he's had to backtrack it and be like, "Well, if I'm, like nothing is confirmed."
Even if he's not confirmed, just let's go into the hypothetical scenario. I think they're setting up something where certain, but the universe. We're just talking about multiversity, people. Here we go.
I hate this.
The way that the multiverse works. And this is very much DC universe too. And I'm glad you brought up, Jordan, the thing with Quicksilver, because the Flash is kind of always the catalyst introducing them to the multiverse, so that Evan Peters jumping as Quicksilver could play into the multiverse. But what I think is that they've already set up the J.K. Simmons playing J. Jonah Jameson. Certain people are going to look the same way no matter which multiverse you're in. So like Brandon Routh in the Flash TV show, he's playing a version of Superman during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Certain things have certain faces in certain multiverses. So Jamie Foxx, even if he's in there as Electro, that doesn't mean he's playing the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Electro. It could just be another thing with Simmons where they're using the same face to be a better version of Electro, because I don't want him to be blue. I want to see Jamie Foxx. I said that a couple years ago. We want to see good-looking Jamie Foxx.
I guess my approach to it is just as somebody who loves the movies that they are making based off the source material, but has no actual attachment to the source material. It's not something I grew up with. It's all stuff I've learned about and been introduced to through seeing stuff in the movies and doing my own kind of research on it.
I love your perspective on how
the multiverse to me just seems like something that can get really complicated really quickly. And I hate always sounding like the pessimist on it, but it's just like I could be proven wrong and they could do it all great and I could turn back on it, but I think there's more happening than we know, in the fact that I think there's a reason that they're not saying anything. Because that's the thing people forget is Marvel has not commented on any of this. Sony has not commented on any of this. We were supposed to get a first reveal in December of the film. Yeah. That never came. Instead, we got rumor on rumor on rumor about what could be happening with this film.
You get that set picture of him on the green screen.
But none of it was ever right. Yeah, but none of it was ever confirmed.
He's in his Spider-Man 2 costume. Like, there's nothing. You could have seen that and thought, okay, that's not even from this movie. You just see him wearing it, like, it's now because he has the Corona mask on. Which is kind of funny because, like, the Spider-Man mask in itself is enough.
Right.
But I think we're gonna get a trailer for that soon because it is supposed to be released this year, correct?
In December. Yep.
As far as December, okay, yeah. I mean,
well, you just explained it. There's your Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
Your trailer.
True. Yeah, I mean that's the Super Bowl. I think is going to be bigger this year for trailers because I think you're going to have movies that are really going to market themselves to get you out to see them.
Yeah. I don't think I disagree. I think more people are going to be careful because of what happened with Fast and Furious last year. How they spent the money, they did the Super Bowl ad, and then delayed a year. I don't think that's happening anymore. I don't think.
Well, I think
is the big top tier event because I don't think at that point I don't think we're gonna.
What's another one though? There's no other. I mean, big televised things where millions of people are going to watch.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so there's no other option.
Coronavirus, like a mission accomplished reveal, like we beat the coronavirus, we did it, and just show it during that. That's no, you're gonna have that. You're gonna have some sort of televised event where it's like, we did it, guys, we beat it. Like you're gonna have that.
We did it.
That's gonna be like where all the top tier commercials. It's gonna be almost like a telethon for victims, but it's gonna be a celebration of life. Like, hey guys, we survived this horrible chapter in human history. Like, we did it.
I like your optimism right here, brother. Yep. I like that. I like that optimism.
Sure. I'm not optimistic at all. I don't think that's happening.
We're all dead.
I got my helmet ready. Let's go.
There you go.
Nikki can feign optimism without actually believing.
Oh yeah, no.
Being
I am such a fake optimism. Yeah. I'm not as happy as I seem on camera.
All right. Well, since
That was
we
depressing.
decided,
I didn't mean that to be that depressing. But I got a lightsaber.
so here, since we decided to dive into multiverse, let's get into something else that's related to the multiverse. So I do have no, we're gonna flip sides, but I do have one video for tonight that was kept over from last week because from what I understood about the show, they kept talking about that they were going to do it and then never did. But there were some news stories last week related to the Flash and Batman, and some other DC news tidbits came out this week. So I figure we can kind of play it all together and get into a DC discussion, because at least I'm not emotionally invested in this. The multiverse can't piss me off here.
Wow.
Same here.
All right. So here we go. Let's I'll play the video, the first two stories, and then I'll talk about the other ones after the fact. Continuing on to some more DC news and announcements, the long-in-development film The Flash is reportedly set to begin filming in April of 2021. The movie is set to star Ezra Miller in the role that he originated in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and is being directed by Andy Muschietti, director of It, and written by Christina Hodson, writer of Bumblebee and Birds of Prey. This is a big development, considering that the project has become infamous for the number of creatives that have come and gone in terms of working on it. The massive list includes names like Lord and Miller, Greg Berlanti, Rick Famuyiwa, and Robert Zemeckis. However, it seems as though that Muschietti and Hodson have finally cracked the code on getting this film made. The movie, which is supposedly focused on a Flashpoint storyline, is rumored to possibly see Kiersey Clemons and Billy Crudup return as Iris West and Henry Allen, roles that they will debut in for Zack Snyder's Justice League, as well as have Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton both return in their roles as their respective Batmen. It is important to note, though, that to date, Keaton has denied his involvement in the movie. The movie is set to release on November 4th, 2022. Speaking of Batman, rumors have left the set of the upcoming DC film, The Batman, stating that there may be a possibility of some growing tension, specifically between star Robert Pattinson and director Matt Reeves. Namely, the report coming from the British tabloid The Sun says that the tension is developing due to Reeves' nature to shoot like a perfectionist, doing take after take to get every little piece of every scene perfect. This has caused apparent physical stress and exhaustion to Pattinson, as a lot of those scenes are spent with him in the Batman suit, which is seemingly much bulkier and has more metallic pieces than previous suits we have seen, making it more difficult to wear for lengthy periods of time. Though there's no full confirmation with this, it does propose an interesting proposition for the future of the series, should it be true. The Batman, which alongside Pattinson will star Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, and Andy Serkis, is set to release on March 4th, 2022.
There you go.
All right.
So, what you just said about the bat suit, I kind of have a problem with that. Because I'll sometimes, when I'm alone, just put on my Robin suit, which is kind of cumbersome. But I'll just put it on and just walk around and like swing my swords around just to pretend that I'm a superhero. So
nice.
I kind of have a problem. And Grant Gustin did this on The Flash too, where they complain about their super suit. I'm okay with like you talking to the costume department saying, hey, can we make this sort of comfortable? But you're dressed like Batman. Come on, man.
Right.
As an actor who would kill for a reoccurring role on a TV show, you could dress me however the hell you want, because those are residual checks that are gonna pay you the rest of your life. Don't you ever complain about that.
I was gonna say, so part of the tension rising there is not totally on the Batsuit itself, but it's more Reeves' approach to directing the film. This perfectionist approach of, if you don't get one small thing right, do it over and over and over and over. See Kubrick for famous filmmakers that do stuff like that. Check. But it is known to be a thing that actors aren't the fondest of, and particularly in this instance. Is he gone for good, or I missed that? But anyways, particularly in this instance, with the suit, because I have to ask, are there a lot of solid metal pieces on your Robin costume, or is it a lot of fabric?
No, I've got, and it's not even metal. It's like, maybe they did use metal on the Pattinson suit, which good on them if they did.
Because that's what it is. It's
probably some sort of material.
There's a lot of I believe it is actual metal plating in certain areas, and then obviously some of it's probably for movement's sake. It's probably a
like Mando
metallic
doesn't have
thing.
metal.
But I believe there are pieces to it that are actually metal, and so that's where the
Really?
difficulty comes in trying to wear it. Yeah,
I don't, because it's plates. It's like a plate system, and he's buff, so like it's not like he's gonna have weight to it. I'll grab some of the plates.
He's a strong, but he's also a very scrawny frame. He's not exactly a naturally built guy. Either way, if I don't think, even if it is true, I don't think it amounts to anything more than just, can we hurry the fuck up and film this scene? Like,
Right.
I don't think it amounts to anything higher than that. I was reading reports when I was looking up this story of like, because when I do the research, I try and take out as much conjecture from the writers as possible when I'm reading these articles. And there were people who were trying to conjecture, like, could this affect the sequel? No, I don't think it'll fucking affect the sequel. Like, I don't think it's that deep. It's probably just a pain. It's like Jim Carrey talking about how filming The Grinch in makeup was a pain in the ass. Like, it's a pain in the ass. You get past it. You make the film. Everybody's buddies at the Friends of the Day. You have something to laugh about.
Some people are taken out of context, for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, and there's also
even if this was metal, it wouldn't be like they would make it out of a lightweight metal, like an aluminum. So even if this was metal, it would almost be lighter. So I don't even see that, like, whoever's saying that, like whoever added that part about the metallic plates, that was probably something that whoever wrote that story, whoever's reporting that story, added, because it is a plate-based armor, which is one of the things I like about it. That makes it really practical for a bat suit. But even those plates in real life, they're not made of metal. They're made out of like a carbon fiber Kevlar. So like if you're wearing practical body armor, there's not a lot of metal-based body armor out there. Like I know there's the gun that makes the bat symbol. Maybe they made that out of a real gun. But I can't imagine that, like, because I think Weta is still making these suits, and I can't imagine they made that suit actually out of metal, just knowing what I know about props, because metal is never metal. Like, even when it looks
right.
That's true. And again, no one's on set. Nobody really knows what's happening. But I think in terms of, like, the expansive, like, I threw it in there because I think it is an interesting, like, I didn't know you knew that much about costume. That's an interesting point. But in terms of like how big an effect it could have, like I don't think it's going to get to a point of like Pattinson rocks in the room and goes, I'm not doing the sequel if Matt comes back. No, I don't think it'll reach that.
Anything, it's a Tobey Maguire situation where he's going to be bitchy on set, but he's still going to do it. And I don't even think that's him, because Robert Pattinson's a real like professional. He dealt with those Twilight movies. He took those hits in stride. Like
he fucked Kristen Stewart for the world, man. He
continues to take the hits in stride.
That's a bullshit right there. I love Kristen Stewart, and she gets hotter by the day. But you brought her up, and I forget what I was saying. That's Kristen Stewart has.
Also, to answer, we can go into this in just a second, Bruce. I personally haven't seen it. I've not seen the show at all. I don't know if anyone else here has, but if we have, we can get into it after this.
Yeah, I have seen the first 3 episodes because I did a rewatch with my wife, because for so long she wouldn't watch it with me, and so I had to like almost beg her, like not really beg her, but I mean, just I brought it up over and over, and finally she watched it, and she's like hooked now. I think she's actually in the other room watching it right now.
Karate Kid, the new Karate Kid is the definitive Karate Kid. Everyone, Hilary Swank. That's it. Shoot me.
Hilary Swank.
Wait, did you say Karate Kid 3? The new Karate Kid 3 and the new Karate Kid are 2 different films.
I don't even know which one it is. It's the one with Hilary.
The new Karate Kid was the 4th film. There's the Karate Kid 3, and then there's the next Karate Kid.
Yeah.
As an actual Karate Kid, like I was a Karate Kid, I was not a fan of those movies.
Personally, I'm a fan of the Kung Fu Kid. I thought Jackie Chan's performance was great. Because that's not karate in that film, but it's a good film.
But the Ezra Miller Flash.
If we do get Maddie to come in, I'll make sure to bring this up to him, because he probably has seen all of it.
You brought up the Ezra Miller Flash movie. That movie, I am shocked that is still being made. Like,
Yeah,
I cannot, even though they've announced it and done all this pre-production for it, I still can't believe that.
Which
Yeah, me neither.
I was gonna say so let's talk about this and this actually I can bring this up because it plays into one of the other little DC tidbits that came out this week. So when I was doing research for the story, I actually found out something interesting because again, one of the big things in reporting nowadays is people report something without complete confirmation, but it becomes talked about like it's fact. One of the things I found is that not only has DC nor Michael Keaton actually confirmed Michael Keaton's involvement in the film, Michael Keaton has publicly denied it. Like he has said, I'm not involved in the film. Now, again, that could just be marketing PR. That could just be marketing PR, but he has said publicly he's not involved with the film. Now, what that plays into is there was a tweet came out this week from Brooks Barnes, who is the New York Times reporter that initially broke the rumor that Keaton was in the film. And he actually, in a move that not many reporters will do, came out and clarified and said, I basically, to quote tweet him, been offline and returned to see this Michael Keaton craziness. I was referencing to the one film that Keaton has been announced as being in, not a set of his own Batman films. If I had any info beyond The Flash, I would obviously have put it in the article. So the internet heard the Michael Keaton thing, and obviously there have been rumors about 2 Batman series. We're going to have 2-3 running Batmans. We're doing all this. And he is saying, no, that is not the case. Anything that I reported is in relation to this one film. And again, if it's true.
So this is an official piece of concept art that they have revealed. That is clearly the Michael Keaton Batman suit, like in that concept art. So whether or not they've confirmed it or not, it's like the way I view it is like Tamara Morrison and Rosario Dawson for The Mandalorian. They were never actually confirmed by Disney until the moment those episodes aired. So
no, they were confirmed as being a part of the cast.
Or were they Entertainment Weekly thing?
No, they were confirmed. Rosario Dawson was confirmed ahead of time as Ahsoka, and Tamara Morrison was never confirmed as Boba Fett, but he was confirmed as a part of the cast.
So, but this is what I'm saying. This is an officially released piece of art that they released at DC Fandom, I believe, where this started. So even if Michael Keaton is denying it, he's doing it because they're telling him to. So I think this is one of those things
possibly
happening. I don't think he's taking over for the DCEU Batman. Like that's one of those stories I don't believe because like Ben Affleck is doing stuff. Like they are doing stuff with him moving forward. You can tell.
I don't believe that either. I don't because Snyder's come out and said that his involvement. Snyder's come out and said his involvement with the DCEU is over after Snyder Cut.
I think that's more of a like a marketing tool where they're telling people, hey, we're not doing anything moving forward in case everybody hates Justice League, and then they end up scrapping their moving forward. I think they're very
with this in particular, no. Because Zack Snyder's Justice League is a product of internet fan hype. It is coming to fruition as a product of consistent and very loud fan backing.
I love getting in these debates with you.
A movement that was so big, it's quite literally. I'll address the stranger in the bottom in a second. A movement that was so big, it's now caused other producers to have to actually address other cuts of other films for them. Insane.
Like David Ayer cut and stuff.
So that being said, if Snyder was going to continue working in the DCEU,
which I think he is,
I think they would just say it and let the hype continue to build. I see no reason to have him say, no, I'm not.
That's why I love arguments like this, though. Like that's why I love arguments.
We'll go ahead since we're talking about geek shit. Let's introduce Kevin Poss. Welcome back to After Dark. It's been a few weeks. Just
I didn't have the soundbite ready. Hold on. But just what I'm saying before we get off track and I forget it. I think that's one of those things where, and I love having because most of the things that you and me disagree on. they're always let's wait and see conversations. Like we never disagree on. We don't usually disagree on things that already happened. But that's what I love about these conversations.
Things that have happened are called fact. It's kind of hard to disagree on that.
We're gonna find out. That's what I love about this is that we're gonna find out eventually if Michael Keaton's doing it, if Ben Affleck's doing it, and just putting on my predict the future goggles. I think they're lying. I think they're being coy in case Justice League bombs.
And see, that's why, I do like having these conversations, because I'm also someone where I have the opinion. I'm also completely open to having my mind change. Like, as somebody who, because we had these conversations months ago, as somebody who myself personally wasn't calling for.
I was saying it's happening, like that's happening, and then it did.
As somebody who doesn't, I still don't think on a financial decision it makes sense at all to do it. Good for them for standing by Zack Snyder, but I don't think it makes sense. But as someone who is proven wrong, I'm not excited for it. I don't care. I'll still watch it. I'll give it a shot. I hope it'll be good. I don't want to waste 4 hours of my life on something that sucks.
Oh, no, it's not waste. They're spending the money, because here's the thing that people don't see. I don't think the movie itself will give them any profit at all. I think the movie itself, they need to view that like if you're going with net gain, net loss, the movie's going to be a net loss itself. But you got to look at it in a bigger scope. Look at that Justice League animated series, how beloved that show is. That show sold comics. That show sold toys. That show sold tickets to Batman Begins. You're going to see repercussions from getting a good Justice League movie down the line, where people are going to want more Batman. People are going to want more Superman. We might even get a Superman movie, guys. What a concept.
Yes,
make a
right.
Superman movie? Like, yeah, please.
I see, now this is just me being contrarian for a joke, because if somebody thought Man of Steel was fine, I'd be open to a sequel for that. I don't think they'll make that sequel just to keep fucking with the fans. They're just going to throw anything and everything else out there except for.
And how do you do that?
But hold on. So I was going to say we've been having this debate for a minute. We got Kevin for the first time in a few weeks. We have Jordan. Let's go to them. What are your guys' thoughts on this kind of whole this just everything around this Flash movie? Really, the fact that it's happening, just in general.
Well,
either one of you.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think that for sure Michael Keaton's not going to be the new Batman going forward. I think that's like a given. He's 69 years old, so I mean, he's not going to. That's one reason right there.
You know what? I'd respect the balls on them if they did that.
Yeah, but like as far as Ben Affleck going forward, I kind of think that's kind of a wait and see for me, honestly, because I don't think they're really going to throw like $70+ million to do the Snyder cut if there's not something a little more to it than just like letting him finish and doing it for the fans. I think that they're putting so much money into it because there's a little more to it than that. But I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Ben Affleck. I don't know if they're going to continue it in some way or another. But they got to be doing something more than just the Snyder cut. So I think we're going to see more from that universe. I just don't know what. It's kind of just a wait and see for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin, Jordan's going to be on every episode of After Dark moving forward because nobody other than Devin. He's not here. Maybe he is. Maybe he's invisible. You don't know.
Last week they lost the child. This week they lost Devin.
They're both over next door right now. Like Devin was on his. See, here's the thing. They were both on Discord with their friends, and my only friends were there. So, and then I came to talk to you guys. So, my only friends are them.
So to explain what I just said, in what was the least consequential but funniest running joke, because they're not even because of, it's just kind of funny that it worked out. Their nickname, him and his brother who's usually here, are the Mandalorians, and almost exclusively during the airing of The Mandalorian, a smaller child was in the room next to them every single week during the show. I don't even think it was on purpose. It just kind of happened that way, and he hasn't been seen since The Mandalorian ended.
Yeah, they're over there. I mean, I can tell them that they're wanted, but maybe
that they're wanted.
Yeah,
Later has story. People are wondering where you are.
My concern with the Flash movie is just you guys may have already discussed this, but just the changes in direction and like production. I don't know. if they've even settled. I mean, there's just been such an array of names. I know that Graham Smith or whatever his name is.
Seth Graham Smith.
Yeah, there you go. Seth Graham Smith. Like, even if they're going to take his original script, and I heard they're going to like put a Lord Miller spin on it, and then God knows where it'll end up. Where it'll end up by the end of it.
So I named a few people in the video, but originally I made this cut in when I wrote the script out for that recording, because I had all the names listed, and I went, this is a minute in thing. But here we go. So these are all the creative names that were involved with this film. So at different points, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, Seth Graham Smith, Greg Berlanti, Rick Famuyiwa, where else? Joby Harold, Robert Zemeckis, not officially confirmed, but they had creative talks with DC, Matt Vaughn, Sam Raimi, and Mark Webb. Then after them, Zemeckis was confirmed. Then he left. Then Jonathan Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. And now we have the duo of Andy Muschietti and Christina Hodson writing the script. Yeah, there's a million and one names in that pot, and none of them are quite the same.
No, they're not. And that kind of worries me, that it'll be just a mishmash of like, you'll be able to see, kind of like with Solo, how you could kind of see the Lord Miller through the Ron Howard, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want that to be the case, but I mean, I liked, I like Birds of Prey, so if they could kind of keep going with that, I would be okay with that. But
that's exactly. That's exactly because I mentioned it in the video. I know you weren't here for that, but that's why I think Hodson got hired. Hodson had a couple of smaller films, but her two recent biggest screenplays were Bumblebee and Birds of Prey. And I think that's part of the reason why she's kind of is being worked into DC a bit more. Because honestly, I didn't love Birds of Prey, and I really did actually like Bumblebee, but the writing was not the weak point of Birds of Prey. I did think it was well written. I thought Bumblebee was well written too.
I think editing is what kills Birds of Prey. I don't think they should have edited.
I would agree.
Yeah. No, I think if that movie had a better vision as far as editing goes, and I can't even blame the editor themselves, because they were obviously told to do something.
Yeah.
And Kathy Ann.
It was just kind of all over the place. Yeah, it was all over the place a little bit. You had to watch it a few times to get the whole storyline. Oh yeah, me too.
I'm kind of shocked though that this Flash movie, honestly, is even still getting made with so many names attached. Yeah. And also you have the whole controversy with
punching the lady. Yeah.
With Ezra Miller, did he choke that girl out, or what was going on? They just kind of glossed over it. We never got any explanation if they're playing around or if it was serious or what the heck.
I was gonna say there was no ever official court proceeding, but from everything I could gather back when that happened, because I got curious and researched it, apparently the story behind that was, and this was confirmed by people who were in the bar at the time, he was in the bar having a drink, and this woman went up to him and started trying to conversate with him and asking questions and stuff like that, and he had told her basically leave me alone, piss off kind of thing. And then she wouldn't, and it kept escalating and escalating.
Oh, really?
But what we saw in that video was the pinnacle of it, where he finally just said, fuck it. And
I think that's David Ortiz.
They both had alcohol in them. It's not like either of them were sane of mind. That's how it ended. Not a great ending either way, but
I think that's the David Ortiz baseball situation. Remember when the whole I don't know if you remember this, Aaron, but I'm sure Kevin might.
The steroid thing.
Back when the steroid thing, all the steroids, like Petty and A-Rod, all that stuff that was coming out, and then David Ortiz's name, Manny Ramirez, their names were on the list. And David Ortiz's strategy was, I have no idea what happened here. There will be an investigation. I will give a personal investigation. He never did. There was nothing that was ever revealed about that. And now everybody thinks David Ortiz is like the greatest ever, even though this guy cheated and just basically ignored the controversy behind it. If you ignore anything like that happens, it will go away. That's the best thing to do in that
fair.
Yeah,
no,
it will.
Yeah.
It will go.
And that's what happens. Let's just say if what that story that was kind of pieced together, if that is the real truth of what happened in that scenario, and we just saw the tipping point end of it on video, then that's the best way to handle one bad night that could become a career-ending thing. I feel like this is. I just saw it pop up in front of me, so I'll pull it up. Are any of you guys nervous for DC going forward? Fuck yeah, I'm nervous, man. They haven't shown any ability to consistently have their shit together. I mean, dude, you know how many times they've announced the DCEU slate and been like, yeah, this is the one we're doing, and then you can half of them, and it's like, then what are your film reports? Chris McKay is making Batgirl. Fucking really?
Yeah.
That off the ground, right? Not a Man of Steel sequel? What are you guys fucking doing over there? Like, yeah, I'm nervous. Because specifically for the DCEU, the best film for me is Wonder Woman, and that's like an 8 out of 10 for me. Like, they have not impressed me beyond that point yet. I'm not a fan of Aquaman. I'm not a fan of BVS. I'm not a fan of Suicide Squad. I wasn't a fan of Justice League. I think Shazam is fine for what it is. I think Birds of Prey is okay.
Have you Man of Steel?
Man of Steel's I haven't seen it in a long time.
Man of Steel's good, but
why can't I just
awesome. I love
son, you are my son. Oh,
my problem with Man of Steel, and I don't want to go too deep into this just because if I'm being honest, I haven't seen it recently enough to have a good enough concept on it. But my biggest problem when I watched Man of Steel the first time is, as somebody who loves Batman Begins, Man of Steel felt like a worse version of Batman Begins. It's edited very similarly. It's doing the chopping back and forth between the modern day travel and the childhood. It's, showing the tragedies that built the character classically from the comics, down to the T if it was executive produced by Christopher Nolan. Like, it's very clear how it ended up that way. Plus, Goyer helped write it, and he was involved with Batman. Like, it's clear how it got to that point. But as somebody who honestly, truly believes that Batman Begins is the best of that trilogy, like, I even like it slightly more than The Dark Knight, and I know that's controversial.
No, I hear you.
As somebody who really, really likes Batman Begins, Man of Steel is not as good, and it's trying to do the same thing. And so that hurts it for me.
But I think Warner Brothers would hear your opinion right there and say, mission accomplished. That's exactly what we were going for.
Mm-hmm. And that's fair.
For Batman Begins, but with Superman.
Batman Begins isn't a terrible template for a film. It's just, for me, it echoed so close to it that it's almost like... When you're getting that close and you're not doing it as well, then it starts to become a problem. And
my argument is
examples in film that do that.
I think it does it just as well.
Is that the reason that they're not, like, what worries me about DC is why haven't they adopted the Marvel, like, the way of doing things? Because obviously that's a success.
You don't think it'll work?
Because I think DC has shown, and this is Warner Brothers in general recently, they've shown that they're very reactionary. They're not very, with the exception, they don't think things out very much. And I don't want to go back into the HBO thing, but we've had that discussion in depth over the last few episodes, and we've talked through the different Fallout pieces of that. And to me, that only shows more and more they really didn't fully think that one out all the way through. Mm-hmm. And so Warner Brothers I don't think they think things all the way through. And with DC, they're very reactionary. And so I don't think they're copying Marvel verbatim, because I think internet fanboyism is so vitriolic that at this point, like, I think they went into BVS legitimately believing they had a great idea to flip the Marvel formula and set up a universe in a different way. It didn't work the way they intended. And now I think they're thinking, if we just try and restart and copy Marvel's formula, we're going to get torn to shreds for it, because our fans clearly want something different than what Marvel's doing. And if we start copying Marvel in any way, shape, or form, that's automatically going to garner us some hate. And the last thing DC needs is people not liking their films before they walk in.
Right. See, for me, the thing that makes me nervous, it's just the sheer number of movies that they've announced from DC. It's like, but like, are they going to happen? Are they not going to happen? I mean, so like I just brought up like a small list here, but I mean, you have Black Adam, you have Justice League 2, Aquaman 2, Lobo, you have Cyborg, Green Lantern Corps, Harley Quinn and the Joker. You got Wonder Woman 3 now; it's being fast tracked. Then you have Justice League Dark, New Gods. I mean, the list goes on, but it's like so many movies. It's like, are they happening? Are they not happening? Are they connected, or what's going on? You know,
right. That's how I feel about Shazam too. I don't think like, and this is one of those things that me and Aaron disagree on. I don't think Shazam 2 is I don't think Shazam 2 is going to happen the way that it has been foreseen to happen. Just because
Black Adam.
Yeah, like because those kids are aging out of the roles is my opinion. Like other people think differently. That's their opinion. It's just that pure Billy Batson like comic book character that like I was looking for in the movie. It's already like kind of past that point. But when it comes to something like Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman 3 and 4, like I think those ones are happening just because of the popularity of the character and the fact that Wonder Woman is still at a point where we haven't been oversaturated by Wonder Woman films. Like we've had so many Spider-Man, so many Batman films. Wonder Woman, like a few years ago, 2007, 2008, that was the first Wonder Woman movie. That was pretty much the first mainstream Wonder Woman project to hit big. So, like, you had the Linda Carter series, but other than that, there was no Wonder Woman anywhere. So, I think with Wonder Woman, she's safe. New Gods, that's one I don't see that happening the way that they say it's gonna happen. The Harley Quinn Joker movie, maybe Jared Leto may come back. He may have a resurgence in Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think we heard. So who knows? I think Zack Snyder's Justice League, how that movie is received, will determine the future of DC.
Okay, so I want to pitch to you, just because we've talked about this before. Again, I think Shazam 2 is happening exactly as they've announced it. I don't think you'd go that deep into pre-production on a film and not make it work. But here's my thing. You're talking about in terms of age progression, right? In terms of the age progression of the actors. I just looked it up out of curiosity. The actor that played Billy Batson in the film, Asher Angel, was 15 to 16 years old between main production and reshoots. He's now only 18 years old, and they're set to enter production this year for a release next year. You really still think that they would can it and not do it because he's too old?
I don't think that's the reason that they would can it. I think they'll can it for other reasons, but it's just I look at that and I see the Shazam TV show that was made in the 70s, like around the Wonder Woman time, where it's a man who is turning into another man that isn't in his prime anymore. Because the whole entire point of Shazam, Captain Marvel, that character, is that Billy Batson is supposed to turn into himself at his prime. My problem with that is that Zachary Levi is not Asher Angel's prime anymore. Asher Angel is at his prime now. Like you just said, he'll be 18 years old, like 18 to 25. That's prime. Like if you're looking at it, it's not 45, however old Zach Levi is. So I think the best way to use Shazam moving forward is just almost to have Zach Levi come in as Shazam playing the kid, but not show the kid. Like have a Justice League movie that has Shazam in it. I just don't know how they're going to do it because there are other characters in that movie. Because my whole problem with the first Shazam was the Shazam family at the end, but that could benefit them now because the characters, the main cast, is 18, 19 now.
So you think they'll just
younger cast could take form a little bit more, like the little girl, the little boy. They could be the little bit more of the big per se. Yeah, I didn't describe that, but
I mean this in the nicest way possible. Is this making sense to anybody else?
No.
Not so much.
Okay,
that's fine. Read the Shazam comics, you'll understand. But what I'm saying is they had the Shazam family at the end of the movie. I think Shazam works when it's big, when there's a kid and he's in an adult's body. I don't think it works when it's a small adult in an older adult's body.
I wouldn't call a baby-faced 18-year-old an adult. because that kid's still like here. I'll find a picture of him. I knew who he was before. I knew who he was before the film. Right, but the difference is you're 28, 29, right?
Yeah.
Like you are an adult that is
But I'm not
entering.
Zach Levi.
Right, you're not Zach Levi, but you are clearly an adult. You look younger, but you are clearly an adult. Like here.
Yeah.
Hold up, let me.
Yeah. Asher Angel still like he still looks like he's 16. And
no, he's fine.
In my opinion,
it's more Zach Levi.
Yeah.
Like if they were to put Asher Angel in the Shazam suit and like buff him up, that would be better to me than 40-something-year-old Zach Levi. That's what's weird to me. Because I know 40's the new 30 and 50's the new 40. It's just that's the part that's weird to me. Because it makes sense when it's like, okay, I'm a little shrimpy kid. I want to be big and strong. It's weird when it's, okay, I'm a high school kid. I'm at the top of my world, and I want to turn into my dad.
All right, hold on. I just think you're looking. I think you're looking at it a little too literally in terms of their ages.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
they
looking
both
at it
look
literally.
younger. Because like here, I'll pull up. So I knew who Asher Angel was before this film because I have younger siblings, and he was on a Disney Channel show before he went into this. So I had seen him on a show, so I knew what he looked like before the movie. All right, so he probably filmed that show roughly when he was like 14, 15-ish. So I'll share some images, right? So this was what he looked like when he was on the show. That's what he looked like on the TV show, okay?
Yeah.
Now I'll flip,
Stop
sharing, flip.
Just taller.
This is what he looks like today.
Yeah.
He still looks super young. Clearly he is a little older, but he still looks the same. And he looked like that in Shazam. So what I'm getting at is Zach Levi also doesn't look like somebody in his 40s.
No, he
So
like he looks like he's 30.
Like
in my opinion.
No, I hear what you're saying. I'm just gonna count. This is a recent picture of Zachary Levi. So my concern is just why would a high school student want to turn into that? Like, which one are you gonna fight? Like,
right. Well, I think you're just looking at this too literally, and it's
completely literally. Like, they're gonna make
he's
him
got a little gray in his hair. They'll get rid of that for the film. That's fit.
Yeah, they're gonna make him look young. They're gonna make him look like in the prime of life. They're gonna make him look like what he would look like.
They'll do fine.
That's right.
You're right. They'll do fine. I'm wrong on this. I can concede that I am wrong on this. But it's just one of those things that I picture the animated series, or not the animated series, the 70s series, where it's a man who's turning into a man that's roughly the same age. It's just one of them looks younger and shrimpier. It's just weird. The whole thing's weird. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! You know Yu-Gi-Oh! He turns into that older guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Or it's like if they had a scrawnier version of Zach Levi, and then he became a buff version, like that, kind of a little older, sort of maybe.
Captain America style.
Where did this go?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I have no idea.
So, like, think of Zac Efron. If Zach Levi wanted to turn into Zac Efron, that would make sense.
So you'd prefer Shazam or just an older guy who got younger?
No, I prefer Shazam when it's a kid that wants to grow up.
Right, but that's what he is. He's 18, my dude. Like, he's still in fucking high school, possibly.
I am the same exact way that I was when I was 18.
There's a lot to grow up to, though.
Yeah, that's just what it is. I'm the same exact way as I was when I was 18.
Okay, now I know where the disconnect is. You're just thinking about this way too literally. It's a movie.
Yeah, I'm just a freak. I'm like, I don't want to be Zach Levi. Zach Levi's old.
Suspend your disbelief.
No, Zach Levi is my midlife crisis. You know, like
it's a hell of a midlife crisis.
Yeah, right.
I'm on Heroes Reborn.
At your midlife crisis, you were a part of 2 very successful series. You were in two of the biggest franchises in the world and who were a Disney
you
film.
You want to turn into that guy?
Hey, surprise.
All I have
Honestly, I don't mind that. That's
All
not
I
bad.
have.
I'll take that, all right. I would
All
take
I
that
have.
perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah.
What, I get to go from being in High School Musical to actually having a decent career, unlike the other 5 of those suckers? Sure. I'll take him
True.
any day.
If I hadn't
True
had back
that.
what I did, I could have had his life.
You could have had Zac Efron's life.
Yeah, I could have. No, I have a better voice than him.
I believe it.
Well, that's true. No one's going to dispute that. He couldn't sing for the first
No, it
one. That's open knowledge.
Yeah,
And
right.
I had the same haircut at the same time.
Isn't that why they
Alright.
dubbed over Zac Efron's voice for the first High School Musical? Because he couldn't sing.
Yeah, because he couldn't sing. They were
Yeah.
like, man, you look great. We'll get to the singing later. We'll figure
Yeah,
it out.
right. We'll work with you. Yep.
Which makes you wonder, not that I'm going to pull up any more pictures of people on the show before we get sued by somebody, but
I know.
honestly, do your research. The guy who they voice dubbed Efron with, also not a bad looking guy. It makes you kind of wonder why they didn't just go with him instead of Zac Efron.
Use that dude.
But
Yeah.
Why pay 2
That's
people?
not Zac Efron's voice.
in the first one, no, he's
Not
dubbed
the first one,
singing.
no.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah, they
Here,
had to coach him.
fuck it, I'll find it.
I
mean,
never knew that. So I literally
I-
could have been him. I could have just been the voice.
Yeah,
That would've been
yeah,
better.
you could've. Yep.
I don't want to be the face. I just want to be the voice. I don't have to get abs. I can just be like gross.
He didn't have abs in that movie.
Yeah, he did.
It was,
He was a high schooler.
Yeah, he still had abs in
he
high school.
probably still had abs, but
Yeah, abs.
But, like,
How do you think he got the job?
yeah, really.
Look at my abs, ladies.
Yeah, washboard.
that's that guy's
Yeah.
name. Okay.
I'm
Actually,
Sorry,
yeah,
we're talking to Zac Efron for a little bit too long.
Yeah, we are.
Why are we
Damn,
doing
Drew
that?
Seeley.
I did not
That's the guy
plan to
who
get on and
who
talk
sang
about
for him.
Zac Efron's
Drew
abs,
Seeley.
but
No.
but let me find
What? There's too much silence.
Okay,
Like, what are you calling up?
so this is how you know I was a kid when this came out, because I remembered this existed. The picture that I found is when the first High School Musical came out. They did a tour for the songs, but because Efron didn't sing any of it, Efron didn't go on it. They had the other guy go on it with the cast of the film. So I was able to find a picture with him in it from that show. So you would have known. So you know what he looked like at the time. Okay, so this
I
is
just
it.
want to
So
know
this-
if I'm more
this guy
attractive.
right here in the red jacket is the guy that sang for Zac Efron. In the
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? If his
Yeah.
hair was different, I would say yes.
He's not a bad looking guy by any
But
means.
he doesn't
No,
have the
not
Efron
at all.
hair.
Right, but Efron didn't have the Efron hair before he did.
No,
He probably falsified
He
it.
had like his hair was good. Like that's the haircut I go for. When I go to Supercuts, I'm like, do that. Give me the 2008 Efron, everybody.
I want the
This
Efron.
2008
Bieber.
Efron.
I want half Efron, half Bieber. I want the whole.
No, you're beautiful right there. That's my haircut. That's my ideal haircut.
You want the
Why-
look.
why don't you go for the,
double honey? I was gonna say, Kevin.
The 96 Mia Hamm is what I got going on.
There you go.
Kevin, it looks like you're becoming a Brazilian
You know,
soccer
with the
star with
96
that
with him,
headband.
I'll
What are
raise
you
you with the
doing?
97 Noma.
There you go.
Yeah, sadly, I know that concert tour like way too well because I had a younger sister, so I took her to that
Okay.
concert, and I've never heard like preteen girls
I-
scream at like such a high decibel in my entire life. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I actually went to one of those
so-
too.
I was at the because I was in like first or second grade when those came out, so I was at the age where even if I didn't want to, I saw those movies.
Yeah.
I knew what they were.
I was
I
at the age
probably
where I
saw-
refused.
I probably saw the concert film at least once. One of my friends probably had it. I didn't, but
No, I was
someone
like, no,
probably
I'm
had
cool
it.
for this.
But again, I'm young enough to at least know that it existed to remember that picture. So
Yeah.
I'm a badass. I lock myself in my room and listen to metal.
all right. Here, all right. So to get us back on track a little bit, Chris Diaz put this question in there. Should we keep Goyer and Johns for screenwriting going forward in the DCEU based off their
I
previous
think
track
Jeff Johns
record?
needs to go.
I think they
I like
both need to
the
go.
comics.
Goyer's too inconsistent.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
Which
Goyer
when's the
wrote-
last thing they wrote
that
for
Vader
anything?
Immortal thing too.
What happened?
The Darth Vader Immortal was that David S. Goyer?
Don't think so. I can find out for you in a second.
Yeah, find out because I think it was some like prolific screenwriter that everybody says is like the shit, but then you watch his movies and it's like, he did Rise of Skywalker too, right?
Goyer? No.
No.
Who am
No.
I
So
thinking?
here. So you're thinking of Chris Terrio.
Chris
Yeah.
Terrio. Thank
There you go. Yeah.
No, so Goyer's most recent. So Goyer hasn't written anything for DC since Batman v Superman. So I think they already took care of that. Goyer's last script credit was Terminator: Dark Fate, which I don't know how much of that he had to do because I know they had a few screenwriters on there.
Goyer was Vader Immortal. Yeah.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is I got the Oculus Quest and Oculus Quest and I played that game and I hated it. Story's terrible. He wrote the story for that, and it's not good.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, looking back at some of his more recent writing credits outside of the DCEU, like he did Man of Steel and BVS. He did the screenplay for Batman Begins and wrote the story for the 2 sequels. He wrote Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. He was a writer on Terminator: Dark Fate. He did uncredited rewrites for the 2014 Godzilla.
We've gotten in trouble for Ghost Rider before.
He did the Blade trilogy, including directing the terrible 3rd film.
And the TV show, too.
Deadpool in that.
And the what?
The TV show, too, that only ran for like a year or two.
Did he do the series as well? He wrote
Yeah.
2 episodes on
I
it.
think he just wrote. Oh, there you go.
He wrote 2.
I knew
He
he
was
had-
a
I knew he
producer
had
and wrote
something to
2
do with it.
episodes.
I don't
Yep.
remember that.
Honestly, the only thing that I know, the only thing that I can actually say outside of Batman Begins, which I do think is a great film, and The Dark Knight, he didn't write the script, but The Dark Knight is a good story. It's well written. Same thing with Dark Knight Rises. Which I didn't realize he had writing credits, but it makes sense because I know they hired like film level writers. He wrote the Call of Duty Black Ops games, which I actually think are some of the better stories for a first person shooter. So I'll give him credit for those.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, he was writer and story consultant on the first one. He wrote the second one, and he wrote the most recent one. So fair
That's
play.
what they were selling Vader Immortal on. They're like,
Could
David
be-
S. Goyer.
Could be a case of where if it's something that he's very interested in, he does a good job, and if it's something
if it's a paid
trying,
job.
if he's trying to get a paycheck, then yeah, he just kind of half-asses.
Yeah, but so
What's actually interesting
in terms
about
of
that-
sorry, so in terms of answering Diaz's question, I think they already took care of Goyer. I don't see him coming back anytime
Looks like
soon
it.
in the future.
what's
In terms of
interesting
Jeff
about Goyer-
Johns, let me see. Go ahead, keep going, Nikki. I'm sorry.
I had something about Goyer. That Vader Immortal game, what it did, and this is one of the few parts that I don't like about Rise of Skywalker, is the opening sequence when Kylo's on Mustafar. He is on Mustafar
Yes.
in that sequence, and he's in like the foresty place of Mustafar. I'm one of those people where it's like, if you're going to Nevada, go to Las Vegas. If you're gonna go to Mustafar, go to Mustafar. Like I want to see the lava. I want to see Vader's castle. But the reason Mustafar looks like that is because in that Vader Immortal video game that he wrote, you almost lift a curse that's on the planet, like a dark side curse. And then that's why Mustafar looks like a burning forest in Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Now, I hate
okay.
so that's why like that game, like the script of that game, just like no.
All right, so we've talked about Jeff Johns. Let's move on to, we talked about Goyer, Jeff Johns. So again, I actually didn't know what his full-on writing his only screenplay contribution, direct screenplay contribution, is Wonder Woman 1984. Now, full force, I haven't seen it, so I can't comment, but that's the only screenplay he's actually written. He did uncredited rewrites on set with Patty Jenkins on the first one, and he wrote the story of Aquaman with James Wan and Will Beall. The actual script was written by Will Beall and David Leslie McGoldrick. So he has only actually written one script for the DCEU. He has been an executive producer on every film to date, but he's only written the one film. Truly, I don't know. Anybody else who has actually seen the movie have an opinion one way or the other?
I think that the story, like that the plot is kind of weak, but I like it anyway. Like, I think they could have used a better MacGuffin. Like, I think they could have scoured DC Comics, used a better MacGuffin. The whole entire storyline is basically, how can we bring like Chris Pine into this, and then they work off of that. That's what I think is the weakness of the movie. The strength of the movie is the acting, the actors. Pedro Pascal is great. Gal Gadot is great. Chris Pine is great. They're all really good at what they're doing, but the writing isn't the best.
Okay. And that's one of the things that I actually was interested by, because one of the things that I did here was criticize with this film was the script. And my first thought was, oh, but it was the same writers as the first one, right? Patty Jenkins actually didn't write the first movie. That's something a lot of people may not completely remember. She worked with Johns on set to do some uncredited rewrites here or there, but she was actually not the scriptwriter for that first film. Those people were, as I get the page up, it was the screenplay itself was written by Alan Heinberg, and the story was crafted by Snyder, Heinberg, Jeff Johns, and Jason Fuchs.
Yeah,
who was the first draft
writer. I wanted to say. 1984. I think the script is the weakest. Like the story, the script is the weakest part of the movie. Dialogue isn't bad. It's just what they're doing, the plot. I think that's the weakest part of the movie, but everything else in the movie makes up for it. So it's kind of amazing that I like that movie while being able to acknowledge that the story behind it is kind of subpar. It's just the actors are so good at it that I don't care.
And I was going to say... No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, I'm the exact same way. Like, I actually really like it. I'm actually in the small sliver of the minority. I actually like it. Maybe even better than the first Wonder Woman. That's a hot take, but like with the writing though, I just think that like they just like they wrote it too goofball and just too kind of like the whole scenes in the mall. I thought were kind of off the wall, and then just like there's a lot of things that just don't really make sense. And Wonder Woman has powers she didn't have in the first movie, and then just does some things that kind of don't make sense. But I can kind of look past those, you know. Those are just like really minor nitpicks for me. So I mean, overall, I really liked it, but I can see how people really do have some major issues with the writing, and also too some of the special effects too. I thought were kind of wonky, like the whole fight scene with Cheetah, where it was like pretty wonky, and also
that was terrible in the trailer. So
yeah, and when she puts on the like big golden suit, you know, that looks a little like pretty bad, honestly.
Like, as far as the story goes, the way they work that in, it's like you see the story in the middle of the movie without spoiling it. It's like, oh, okay, this is why she's gonna need that, and then it's like, oh, that's not why she needs that. She has. But what you said about like the set, the powers. What my argument for that has always been, don't blame Patty Jenkins for something that should have been there in the first place. Because that's what I think of that. Like I know what you're talking about. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But power, I think that should have been there in the first place. So I don't really blame her for that. That's more something that I blame Zack Snyder for. But I love Zack Snyder for it. So like either way, I love both. It's a magical god lady doing magical god lady things. That's all I wanted to see.
Yeah.
So, Aaron disappeared. Oh no, he's back.
But also though,
it's
like she has these powers that like she didn't discover for like decades. That like
the camera is frozen.
Like the fact that she can fly. So that's just like a minor thing. But she didn't know she could fly for decades, I guess. And then all of a sudden she can fly. Like, okay, I guess. But I just kind of roll with it. I'm just like whatever.
I think it's a psychological thing. She's messed up.
Right. She had a lot of trauma.
She's like, oh. No, but like she's right. Like she lies to herself. Like she even says, like I've had no joy in my life. It's like we saw you smiling earlier in this movie. Like you're lying to yourself.
Right.
You're glorifying something that you had that was like a week of your life.
Yep.
When you think about it, and that's another thing. That's not him. It's not him.
No, that's not him. That's
No,
like
it's not.
some other guy, like
There we
possessed
go.
by a demon or
No,
something.
not even that part. It's not even the spirit of him, and that it's not him at all. It's not even him.
No, like I just kind of think it as like so like Peter Pascal,
Yeah.
like essentially becomes like a
Sorry,
genie
just-
granting
sorry,
wishes.
just to-
So
just to
he like
He's gonna see it tomorrow, so I don't want to spoil it for Aaron.
okay, but like
Sorry. Just to
We can
interrupt.
stop.
Okay,
Kevin
well-
had to head out, guys, but we'll go ahead and keep going. Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, so like I just think Pedro Pascal just kind of becomes like a genie essentially, and the things he's conjuring up. Like I understand when you say that's not him, that's not Chris Pine. He's just some kind of I don't know, like a figment of some imagination or I don't know what. Yeah.
Like it's weird, and that's left for interpretation. That's not like a spoiler thing. Like people are arguing about this all over the
Like
internet.
what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm even confused about it. And after seeing this movie, like I said this to my dad earlier today, I think they're gonna bring Chris Pine back for the third one. Like, I think
Yeah.
they're gonna find a way to bring him back, and bringing him back for the third one almost would make more sense than bringing him back for the second one, just because
Well-
of the things that they did in the second one. Of what
And he
we
was
were
the
just
strongest
saying.
part of the whole movie too. Like I mean, he pretty
we
much
should do a
elevated
spoiler.
everyone to become like better actors, better everything. You know, like
And Kristen
I think
Wiig, though. Kristen
Yeah.
Wiig is hot. When did she
Right.
get so hot? I can't believe
she's kind of been there. We just never really noticed it. I think.
I
but-
never
You know,
noticed.
it's not like movies like Ghostbusters did anything to make her look attractive.
No.
You know, they
Right.
were shooting for that.
Hey, nothing against her. She's not 28 years old. Like she's not like a young, but like, she's not Gal Gadot's age. Maybe she is. I don't know. But it's amazing that they made her like the transformation, because she's not a bad looking woman. It's just, damn.
right.
That's
Yep.
the only time I'm ever gonna do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Aaron, are you okay?
No. So I was going to say, we can keep going for just a little bit longer. There weren't a lot of huge kind of news stories this week, so it's just been a lot of natural flow conversation. But I want to twist it this way, bring up this story, because this is
God, man.
interesting, and the quote behind this is interesting. So, Jordan Peele was talking to the Hollywood Reporter, and he was doing an interview for them with Bradley Whitford. It's their like actors interviewing actors thing, and they were interviewing each other. And Whitford asked Peele basically straight up, because it's been a few years since we've seen Peele act. We know he's done a lot of directing. You know, he's produced the show.
He's the narrator of Twilight Zone.
Right. Obviously, he's done that. But in terms of film roles, the only things he's done in terms of acting since 2016, which was Keanu, was he was a voice in Toy Story 4. He's been a continuous recurring voice on the Netflix show Big Mouth. And then obviously he's played the narrator in Twilight Zone, but that's more of a producerial kind of, it makes sense to do that type of role rather than an acting role.
A little like, but he's not like the narrator in the original. Like he gets to add a little bit of personality to it. There's a few lines in there. It's like, get it. Yeah.
Right.
So when Whitford asked him about basically the question being straight up, do you want to act again? Is acting something you want to do? Peele's quote is, quote, "I like watching my movies. I can watch the films I direct, but watching me perform just feels like it's like a bad kind of masturbatory. It's masturbation that you don't enjoy. I feel like I got to do it so much, and it was a great feeling. But when I think about those great moments, when you're basking in something you said that feels funny, when I think about all that, I think I got enough." Wow. It's a little extreme, but it seems to indicate that Peele has no interest in returning to acting. Now, as I said, he hasn't been in any He has not appeared in a live-action film since Keanu in 2016, which was before he began directing. And since then, his theatrical releases have only included produced or directed written films, of which he's had a multiple successful hits, whether it be horror films he's directed like Get Out or Us, or even films he's worked to produce like next year Candyman comes out. He was a producer on the Spike Lee film Black Klansman. So he's certainly been working on some interesting projects. Do you guys think it's a, like, in terms of as an audience member, is that a good decision or a bad decision that Peele is essentially saying he wants to step back from acting and seemingly indicating that he wants to step back from doing a lot of types of comedy and more focus just on his directing, his writing, his producing, the craft, rather than being an on-screen persona?
I don't think he'll ever act in his own stuff. Like, based on that statement, I don't think he'll ever put himself into one of his movies.
I agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
Possibly not, but like I don't like I think that he's way better as a director. I mean he's a great actor too, but I mean he's been killing it as a director and producer. Like right, and a producer, yeah, and then but like I just think that like maybe the one thing that might get him back, maybe if he gets back with like Keegan-Michael Key, like I heard they have a couple rumored projects going on, so I think they're best friends. So he might be able to bring him back on screen. But I kind of feel like other than that, we're probably just going to see him directing, probably.
Yeah, so I decided just out of curiosity to look it up. So he's appeared in a little more than what was stated, but in terms of acting, since appearing in Keanu in 2016, all of his roles have been voice roles. He was a voice in Storks. He was a voice in Captain Underpants. He was a voice in Toy Story. And he has two more upcoming films that are actually animated horror films. One is called Wendell and Wild, which is a stop-motion animated horror film being directed by Henry Selick. And the other is called Abruptio, which he actually recorded back in 2017, I believe. And that is a puppet animated horror film. So everything he's doing is voice work. And then obviously we mentioned he's been a part of Big Mouth since 2017. Wow. Cast member on that. So it seems like really his main focus is his craft and directing and voice acting, because I mean that takes all of 2 or 3 days to do in total.
I would love to do that.
Be a voice actor.
My voice, hire me, Disney.
Yep.
Disney, watch our videos and hire him.
No, they literally do that. They'll pull people from YouTube and then put them in a movie because they like their voice. They're like, oh, that's
easy money if you got a good voice, you know.
True.
Yeah.
So like Nikki, you were getting into it before I started kind of putting him more out there. Do you think it's a good choice or a bad choice for him to kind of basically say, I think I'm done acting. I'd rather just focus on filmmaking?
I don't even think like it. I think it's a good choice because it's what he's passionate about right now. I don't think it's a permanent thing. Like he could be saying this right now and then a certain role comes along because he's a creator. He gets inspired by things. So a role could come along where he says, damn, I got to play that role. I got to do that. He's going to get hungry. So right. I think right now he's more inspired by directing. But I think a role eventually will come along that he's going to be inspired by, and he's going to be like, okay, let me act that. And even going back what I said before about him not directing himself based off of that statement, even if he acknowledges it, that it's kind of like this self-referential thing where it seems almost narcissistic to do, there could be a role out there where he just says, I could not see anybody else playing that role, so I had to do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that is something that directors who act have done before. They've certainly put themselves into roles that it just reaches a point where it's like, I don't know if anyone else could do this. I was gonna say a recent example of that was Bradley Cooper. Yeah. Because I know they were looking initially, like he was cast in that role when it was Clint Eastwood's film, and then he took over as director, and they started looking at other actors to take on the role, and then it was decided that he would go back into the role and play it, which was an interest. And then I thought that turned out well. Jordan, what about you? Do you have any like thought or opinion behind the statement that essentially it seems like he's done with acting and seemingly with comedy, because it looks like a lot of what he's leaning towards is horror. With the one exception being his continuous role on Big Mouth, obviously. Any thoughts on it?
I kind of think that, I mean, if he were to come back, I mean, it's got to be something that he's pretty passionate about, that like he really wants to do it, or like maybe in like a cameo, like small type role. I know he like still appears in a few TV episodes. I know I saw him in a couple episodes of that TV show, The Last OG with Tracy Morgan. He popped up in a couple of those. So I mean,
Okay,
I think
yeah.
some little small roles here and there. Yep, but like other than that though, like I think we're gonna see him way more behind the scenes. I think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised maybe if we don't see him on screen, but I mean, you never know though. I mean, just like Nikki said, if he's passionate enough about something and like maybe he sees himself as a good fit for a role, he might push hard to try and be on screen. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Here, so I was gonna say, just to kind of get us, I guess, to 2 hours, I have a couple of more short stories I can kind of throw out there. We can have that talk about them. So here's the first one. In the wake of the last few years, fans of the movie Alita: Battle Angel have been calling for a sequel to this film. And this week we learned that Robert Rodriguez is making a sequel to a film that's not that movie. His Netflix film, We Can Be Heroes, which released on Christmas last year.
Why'd you do that to me?
Sorry. It released on Christmas last year. Went on, Robert Rodriguez tweeted out earlier this week, 44 million families will have suited up for We Can Be Heroes in its first 4 weeks. And breaking news, the heroics are coming back for round 2. I'm in full development with the sequel for Netflix. Now, unfortunately, this does kind of seem to tie things up for Alita 2. There is a long-standing and more recently very hyped up fan campaign to get that sequel made. Myself personally, I can take it or leave it. I thought the first one was fine. Definitely room for a sequel. But yeah, so did anyone? So I'm actually curious to see this film because I haven't seen it yet, but I actually really want to because it just interests me that it exists. So apparently it is a semi-sequel to his previous film Shark Boy and Lava Girl, The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, in that it features those two characters in it. But also, apparently it's good. Like, it has a positive, I believe when I last checked, it was 67% like rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, overall, it is receiving good reviews, especially compared to his previous efforts in kids filmmaking, which have, quite frankly, been horrendous. I mean, the Spy Kids franchise is just worse.
No, we would not have Machete without those movies.
Okay, that doesn't mean they're good movies.
No.
Aaron, come on, no, he's wrong. Battling the sequel because it's even if you don't buy the whole entire he takes off his glasses at the end of the movie and it's esteemed actor Edward Norton. That's not a spoiler. It's an actor reveal. It's not a it's not really.
Honestly, I was cool with that. I like Edward Norton.
Yeah, no, I like Edward Norton. It's just that part. That's not a reveal. You're showing which actor it was. That's not like a character.
Well, he wasn't announced as part of the cast, so I guess if you're paying attention.
Edward Norton. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that movie had some good stuff in it and definitely deserves either a sequel. I could do an entire series of that movie. That's one of the movies I love it when I'm proven wrong. The first trailer for that movie where they had the big eyes and it was so don't do it.
Bad.
And Sonic.
And I will say that the film is beautifully animated. It's well done. My personal opinion, I thought the film was fine. I thought there was a lot to like in it, but I also thought it had a lot of issues with it.
Absolutely.
I think it's, to me, as someone who doesn't know a lot about the anime or the manga that it's based on, to me, it felt like an adaptation that was trying to bring too much of its source material in. It felt very disconjointed at points, and it felt like they were throwing a lot at the wall just to see what would stick. I also didn't completely buy into the I forget the actor's name, but the lead male character in the film.
No, I don't like him.
I didn't like him. I didn't think his performance was all that good, and unfortunately, I think it's because Rodriguez isn't really an actor's director, so he's a hard director to make a debut with.
Look at that episode of Mandalorian you did. Like,
right,
there's not a lot of acting.
That's not character heavy at all. That's all action,
no,
and it looks
like,
beautiful.
oh.
But but I think that's exactly my point. And the action in Alita is beautiful looking. It is really, really good. I just think financially speaking, they'll never make another one because that movie didn't make its money back. So I think that you never know. What I think will really turn the tide is when we finally start, because we've heard like different movies, like I'll go to one, Edge of Tomorrow, right? Edge of Tomorrow was a movie. I don't think it lost money, but it certainly didn't make a lot of money. But the fan support behind that film and it's like DVD after sales pushed them to make a sequel. If that makes money, I think that's a success that could make the producers of Alita look at that and go, maybe we have a shot. Because now that we know there's fan support behind it and people really do want it, maybe more people will see it in theaters after missing it and then seeing it on rental and liking it.
Yeah. And they have an opportunity here where people are watching movies at home more than ever now. So whereas people may not have watched a movie like Alita Battle Angel before, during the quarantine, they may have seen that and been like, oh, cool. Let's watch that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't think they'd make a second.
I was gonna say, Jordan, so you haven't got in yet. What did you think? What did you think about the movie first off? And then, obviously, I don't think any of us here have seen We Can Be Heroes. I kind of just brought that up to fuck around.
I don't know what that was.
Look, it came out of nowhere. I've heard it's good. I am curious to see it. But since it seems like have you seen Alita Battle Angel, I presume?
So I actually haven't seen it yet, but on my second will actually be my main YouTube channel. That's why I am Jordan Movie Hero Anderson. I have a YouTube channel called Movie Hero, and on that I have a show that's called Blind Spots, where I go and watch all my blind spots. That's one that's actually coming up. So within the next couple of weeks, I plan to watch Alita, and I'm going to be doing a whole review after just seeing it for the very first time. So that's something that I got coming up, but I haven't seen it. But like the trailers didn't look too good. It didn't really like draw me in. So but I've heard good things that like it's one of those movies you go in with low expectations and like you. A lot of people that are coming out pretty surprised that they actually really like the movie. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. So.
And Ed Skrein is really good in it too. Ed Skrein from Deadpool. He's popped up in a lot of things.
And honestly, the performances in that film are overall very like aside from like the actors who either like there's some not good ones, but when we're talking about established actors, like I thought Rosa Salazar did a good job. It was nice seeing Christoph Waltz not play Hans Landa. I thought Jennifer Connelly seemed like she cared. Doesn't always seem to care in films. I thought she cared.
She had a gem in the head like her husband. They both have the gem in the head. They're twins.
I thought Mahershala Ali was good. I thought Ed Skrein was very good. I thought Haley Joel Osment, or not Haley Joel Osment. Oh my God, what the fuck is that guy's name?
It'll be a totally different movie.
Haley Joel Osment.
Oh my God, what is his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. Fucking Rorschach. Oh God.
Oh, Jackie Earle Haley.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah.
I knew Haley was in there, but oh God, Jackie Earle Haley.
No, it's like what I did with Michael K. Williams and Sterling K. Brown.
Oh yeah.
Like, I always get those two confused.
That was a little easier to confuse, though. I feel like. Or at least similar.
Those two actors aren't even close to being the same person. I won, but no, I thought all the performances were pretty solid. That was easily the best part of the film. My problem to me, it was kind of a scripting pacing issue. It felt like it was written by fanboys of anime, and so they are throwing a lot in there, and so we're ending up with sequences like Rollerball or whatever it's called plays such a big part in that film, and yet it really doesn't bring a lot of substance to the film. And so it's like, what are we doing with this? Like,
I just think it's cool.
No, it was very cool to look at. So here,
I had such low expectations going into that, like as opposed to a movie like Justice League. I had pretty low expectations going into Justice League, and I could not have expected that movie to be as bad as it was. So a movie like Alita Battle
Worse
Angel,
than
I
your
went
low expectations.
it's like, ooh, okay, you can surprise me. I'm not right about everything.
yeah.
I love proven wrong.
No, absolutely. I think that's something we can agree on.
Yeah.
So here, I'll throw out one last small one, and then we'll call it up and wrap it a night. Just because I thought this was interesting. So a film that was supposed to come out around Christmas but got delayed into March. The upcoming Amazon film Coming to America, the sequel to the 1988 comedy Coming to America, has officially been given a PG-13 rating. Its PG-13 is assigned to it for, quote, crude and sexual content, language, and drug content. Compared to the original film, it did receive an R rating in 1988, the R rating being for adult activity, harsh language, and nudity. My thing is this something to be concerned over? Because one received an R, one received a PG-13. Their description areas aren't actually all that far apart, except for explicit nudity in the original, which this one probably won't have. But in terms of the actual rest of the content, one of the things that's happened with ratings over the years is people have ratings aren't as harsh anymore. Things have laxed in a lot of ways in terms of what gets a rating. Now, there are other dumb things like the fact that 2 F-bombs gets you an R or some shit like that. But do you think this actually affects the possible quality of the film?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
Because like even in this day and age, it seems stupid, especially where movie theaters are open, no one's going, and B, you're at home streaming it, so you don't have the restrictions where a 13-year-old goes in to see Coming to America too.
Remember, this was filmed and produced up until COVID to be distributed to a theater.
But what I'm asking is it, what did they film it as an R and then edit it down? Because that's happened with a lot of movies too, like Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine, the second Wolverine movie. They filmed that to be R, and then they edited it down so that they could get a PG-13 rating. And if it's a movie that's been edited down to get a PG-13 rating, and there's been times that it works, like surprisingly enough, that Once Upon a Deadpool that they released, the PG-13 version of Deadpool, I think that version is better than the super duper cut, quote unquote. We talked a little bit about that last week, but it's not always a death sentence. It's just a little concerning when you're looking at Eddie Murphy and the type of comedy that he does. The type of comedy that he does when it really hits hard is the type of comedy that would have been PG-13 back in the 90s, but because of how humanity has evolved, that's R now. It's like, ooh, yikes. You said that? So I'm concerned a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, Jordan, do you want to go before?
Oh, so I was actually going to see if I could share something with you really quick. Am I able to share on the screen?
Yeah. I don't know if he can because he's not moderator, but
okay.
if you send it to one of us or let us know what you were trying to do, I can pull it up.
Yeah, or you could try. Like if you tried it, if there's the share screen button there.
Well, I don't think.
Here, let's see.
You can.
Let's do it. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, so
this
is the little logo for my other show. So as you can see, one of my blind spots down here, I got Coming to America. I haven't seen it because so like basically Home Alone is the movie that I've seen the most, but then all my blind spots. So I've not seen like Jaws. I haven't seen all of Beetlejuice, Alien, or Taxi Driver. So I got some of those that are coming up on it soon. But so.
What a way to plug yourself, buddy. What a way.
Right.
I've never seen it either.
But anyways, however, I get it back.
I'll get it off the screen for you.
But I think it's interesting that you have Beetlejuice on there, though, because Beetlejuice is one of those movies I've seen parts of, but I've never watched through completely.
Yeah, right. The only thing that I've seen it is the whole dinner scene where they're singing "Daylight Come." And that's like the only part I've seen. But for Coming to America, like I definitely know that it's a movie that like has to be rated R because like everyone that I know like said that that's like an important thing, and I didn't know that he's like King of Zamunda, and he comes to America. I don't know anything else besides that. So like that'll be coming up for me to watch.
Is Springsteen involved at all?
Is who?
Mm-hmm.
Springsteen. Oh wait, no, that was Neil Diamond. Fuck.
Yeah,
Coming
right.
to America.
Yeah.
Why did I? No, Springsteen's born in the USA. That's why I thought that.
Yeah, born in the USA. And
Okay.
to be
But I
fair,
love Eddie Murphy movies like that. So like in that vein, like I think like The Golden Child and some of those movies that came from that kind of era, you know. So I mean, I'm definitely excited to watch it soon. So I'll be probably like doing a double feature, watching them back to back. So that'll be kind of cool.
Wow. Yeah. Honestly, to wrap it up here, honestly, I don't think that this doesn't actually worry me all that much. Only because I made sure to get my credits right. I wanted to do some quick research to make sure I had this. It doesn't bother me only because Coming to America, actually, Eddie Murphy is a huge blank spot of mine in terms of his comedies. Coming to America is one of the ones I've seen. I think it is brilliant. So I'm excited for this. And I think the plot is great. I think the actors that they've added are a great set of actors that they're bringing into this story. The reason it doesn't bother me is because the three writers on the film are Barry Blaustein and David Sheffield, who are the two writers of the original film. And the third writer is a writer named Kenya Barris, who's written two of the better comedies. If we're talking about...
what about the edit?
If we're talking about... I'll get there. If we're talking about black-centric comedies, because that is a genre. I do believe that is a genre. It is a different... there is a different sense of humor there. He wrote two of the best ones over the last few years, which was Girls Trip, which was a hard R, but he also wrote Barbershop The Next Cut, which I believe was a PG-13. I don't believe that's rated R. And so, which I could be wrong, fact check me, but I don't remember it being rated R, and if it is, then it's a very soft R. And so for that reason alone, because it is the original writers, what is it?
It's PG-13, you're correct.
PG-13, okay. Yeah. Because it is the two original writers and this writer who wrote one of the funniest movies that is a PG-13 of the last few years for me in this type of a genre, it actually doesn't panic me, because if it's getting rated a PG-13, and because apparently it's just been sold to Amazon. They have not edited or messed with it in any sort of way. They've had no involvement. They just bought it after the pandemic happened to basically buy out Paramount's stake into the film.
Who created it?
Who created what?
What was the production studio? Like, not distribution.
The original, it was Paramount.
Paramount? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried then. Because they're not, because Paramount, like, they own, it's Viacom, it's Star Trek. Star Trek isn't afraid to go R now. Like, they're not afraid to go hard R with their TV shows. So now that you bring it up that way, I'm not as worried about that, because it makes me think that was their vision from the start.
Well, yeah, and so that's what I was getting at, just from a different angle. The fact that it's the two writers from the original film and a writer who has written funny comedies while working in the constraints of PG-13, and I don't know if either of you guys saw Barbershop: The Next Cut. Not only was it funny, but it also brought a social message to it that was handled very well. Which I feel like this movie could actually do something like that, because of the story of it being, Eddie Murphy's prince returning to America to find a son that he left behind previously, essentially, at some point came to America, had a kid, was not there for him. It's a very interesting way to kind of approach this story. I think it'll be perfectly fine. I think they wrote their script, and I think it just happened to be PG-13 because of the lessening of the ratings. I don't think it has any other conflict. I don't think it's an editing issue. I just think simply this is what they wrote. It turns out it happens to be PG-13. Maybe they took some titties out, and that's simply it. Make it a PG-13. So I was gonna say just
taking titties out or putting them back in, because if you're taking them out,
well. In the first one, remove them from the sequel. But all right, before we sign off, I'll quickly comment on it because it's been brought up in the comments over the course of the show. There was the news story this week that the writer who's writing the Loki show is now confirmed to be taking on writing the Star Wars movie that's being produced by Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
I didn't include it in the show notes, and you guys can comment on it before we close out if you want, because I'm bringing it up now. I didn't include it in the show notes personally because I don't think there's any news to it. The writer who's writing Loki hasn't written anything big previously, from what I'm aware of. Loki is the first thing he's writing. We haven't seen Kevin Feige produce a Star Wars film. We don't even know when it's going to come out. To me, there's no news with it. It's just cool. Feige liked what this guy did. He trusts him enough to write a film he's producing. That's something Feige's done before.
Look forward to Loki more.
You know, Feige, a lot of people forget the guys who wrote Captain America: The Winter Soldier were brought in to try and rewrite Thor: The Dark World into something watchable. Like, their names are on that script because Feige will transplant people he likes to other projects. It's just how it works.
It's funny that you bring Feige up, though, because I saw a video of him, like, from back in the Spider-Man 3 days, and just him talking about how the Venom thing, he's like, somewhere along the production, the idea of the symbiote was introduced, and he's like such dodging it so that he's not specifically connected to that decision. He's like, somehow the idea of the symbiote was brought about, and then
That's
got to
Rod walked in. That's called a Rod walked in with his big dick energy and said, "I."
It was like a testimony. Like somehow.
Yeah, no. So I was gonna say, if either of you guys have a thought or comment on it, please go ahead. I wanted to address it because it's been brought up in the comments over the course of the show. But I need to see Loki first and see how well it's written to actually have any judgment on what he. I mean, look, if I see Loki and it's the best thing the MCU's ever done, sure.
I'm looking forward to it more after the trailer because that was the show that I was looking forward to the least out of all of them.
Yeah, the trailer.
I'm like, okay, they're doing something interesting here.
Yeah.
That trailer, like I probably rewatched it like at least like 3 or 4 times. This was my favorite thing to come out of the Disney investor whole like announcement day. So like from the trailer, I mean, I'm already a little excited, but like I think we're gonna get the real flavor of like how much we're really gonna like it once we actually see Loki. So
yeah, and that's the thing is like, look, I will judge this for what it is when we see Loki. I trust Feige's judgment, so sure, the fact that he's already taken a writer for a product that's not released and is transplanting him onto something else he's producing is cool. But to me personally, it stands out in very much the same way as like the fact that they tapped Nia DaCosta to direct Captain Marvel 2 without her next project, Candyman, being out. But apparently her being tapped is based on the supposed quality of Candyman. It's like, okay, sure. I haven't seen it, so I have no comment on it. But sure, you trusted enough to put them on that project, so that's cool. But yeah, and then again, he threw it in the comments, so I'll mention it. They did bring up that apparently if a season 2 of Loki happens, the writer would want to that they want to bring the writer back. That just is called consistency, I think. Again, I don't think anything of that. And a season 2 was not confirmed within that article in any sort of way. It's just if this happens, they will be bringing him back. So unless you guys have anything to add to that story, I think that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
All right.
Guys, thank you for watching. For those of you who tuned in over the course of the show, thank you guys for watching. We'll go ahead and jump down to our first guest. Thank you for being on. We'd love to have you back at some point in the future. Jordan Anderson, go ahead. You did a great job fitting it in there, but we will give you a chance to actually plug yourself. All right. Go ahead, where can people find you?
Versus me just forcing the plug in there. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little phone call here, but the best place to find me is actually on my second YouTube channel, Movie Hero. So I got a few different shows. I got one that's called Tier Ranker Fights, where we just take our favorite things and we rank them on a scale of like A, B, C, D, E, and so we got one coming up that are going to be the best board games to ruin a friendship over. So we do like pretty much all kinds of things. We do movies, we do like TV shows, we even did one on our favorite desserts. So like we like cover like a bunch of random topics. So we'll have that coming up. I don't really have a set time, so like you got to watch for all the announcements on my Facebook page. So Facebook is also one of the places you can find me at. I'm at facebook.com/JordanAnderson21. So you can find me there because I don't really do Twitter or Instagram too much. So that's really where you can find me.
Awesome, man. And once again, thank you for being here. We'd love to have you back at some point in the future, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Get you on a night when we have a few more people free. You can see what this show really can become. Nikki, we'll jump over to you. You've been by your lonesome tonight, and now you retreat to your bed.
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
I'm very lonely. Yeah. You can find me alone. Maybe I'll build the computer. I'll do a computer build video. Maybe I'll take my shirt off. People want to see that. But I'm gonna leave my helmet on if I do take the shirt off. My lips look purple under the blue light. That's kind of weird.
And you guys can find me here, doing pretty much everything and anything here related to TMG. A couple of kind of post-show announcements prior to us wrapping up. We announced it on our Facebook page. We are making changes to both channels. There will be a lot of changes coming over the course of the next little bit in terms of release schedule and the things that we are uploading. The first one that we announced of those, a brand new podcast show on this channel, the Supernova Show, hosted by Colton Roberts, new to the network, and assisted by our TMG commissioner and a man who made an appearance tonight, Mr. Kevin Poss. That goes up tomorrow at 12 EST, 9 EST on the West Coast, or West Coast time, not EST. It is our geek-related show. He goes into everything and anything geek. It's kind of a variety show, but for geek shit. So please be sure, that's a terrible way to pitch that, but please be sure to check it out. It goes up tomorrow, and it's our first show that's ever been on actual audio platforms, which is something we're looking at getting into. So be sure to check that out. Also, tomorrow, new night and new time, our TM Geek League is coming back. We're changing around some dates and times as to when things air, and TM Geek is returning, now airing on Sundays. The last video that went up prior to our editing issues was as a part of our TM Geek Trivia Tournament. The entire tournament is finished. We've recorded every single piece of it, and now we are working to get it all edited and out to you guys. And that begins with the first match in our round of 16. The number 1 seed, Joe Fairley, enters the tournament, taking on the host of the Supernova Show, Colton Roberts. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m. EST, over on TMG Trivia, to check out that match, and be sure to tune in weekly for the remainder matches. That being said, for the guys that have joined me here tonight, as well as the ones who have come and left, Alan Shepard, Kevin Poss, and the normal host, Maddie Graham, my name is Aaron Knoll. Thank you guys for watching After Dark. We will see you guys next week.
Later.